everybody, this is Lisa.
And this is Joe.
And welcome to your Cheap Date Show for September 16th, 2006. That's Cheap Date, the show that asks the question,
should I put my vodka in the freezer?
Well, let's find out.
Okay.
Do we want to give any background on this experiment before we do it?
Hey, let's. Shall we? Okay, let's.
Let's.
I've been hearing lately, actually,
I'm going to go ahead and start mixing.
I think Alton Brown was the first one who put like this much in there. Who said never keep your vodka in the freezer because for various reasons. And then I decided to ask, since Alton isn't readily available to us, I decided to ask another expert, Mr. Martini from the Behind the Bar podcast, which you can hear at behindthebarshow.blogspot.com.
You should probably shake.
Okay.
What I have done is added about 4.5 ounces of vodka to a Boston shaker full of ice, which Joe is now going to shake. This was vodka that came straight out of the freezer.
And right, we are using Patoczki Polish vodka.
He's shaking.
Okay, so
he's straining into a glass.
Okay.
Now he's emptying. He's emptying the ice, and we're going to get fresh ice. And we're going to shake with fresh ice about 4 ounces of room temperature vodka.
Same vodka, room temperature.
Same vodka that we've had at room temperature for, I don't know, a week. No, just a couple hours. Long enough to get at room temperature. We know what we're doing.
All right. Now.
And he's straining.
Sorry, folks. I don't mean to be we're doing a science experiment right off the bat. Look at that.
Yeah, it's great. Okay.
Okay, now. Here, let me give some background on this. Here's the test that Mr. Martini, or his name is actually Tim, said. He said, take the vodka out of the freezer, shake it with ice for 20 seconds. I didn't go 20 seconds with it. Strain it into a glass, then take a bottle of vodka that's been sitting on the counter and shake it with ice for 20 seconds. Strain it into a different glass, taste them both, and which one goes down smooth and cold, and which one is still too harsh and can actually burn the back of your throat.
Okay, so let's try.
Okay.
That one's fairly harsh. This one's more clear.
Mm-hmm. Whoa.
And... well, it's still straight vodka. It's almost as cold, and it is a bit gentler.
The room temperature one.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be safe to say that he was correct.
Yes. What he said was that cocktail means a mixture of liquor and...
base alcohol mixer, water, and bitters.
Right, meaning that when you shake your liquor with ice... that's not just to cool it off, but to get some water into it.
Right.
To soften it up just a little.
And if it's already ice cold, it can't get any colder, so the ice doesn't melt.
Right.
And therefore... okay, so...
and you end up with straight vodka, which, as he said, unless you're sitting around with your Russian extended family drinking neat vodka... nobody drinks vodka plain.
That's true. So
now, don't write in and tell me you do shots. I know you do shots,
everybody.
But I mean, really, if you want like a dirty martini, you want to soften it up a little bit with water.
Mm-hmm. Was this? Oh no, that was the other one.
That's the hard.
Yeah, and right. And the other thing that you pointed out is the fact that the ice cold stuff. Well, you know what? It's like fogging up the glass. That's the problem.
Well, this one's cleared out now. I think it had some ice crystals in it.
Yeah.
I think it melted the ice a little bit, pulled in the water, and then refroze it.
Oh.
But not in the way it should have.
So there you go, kids.
Now,
there's your science experiments for the day.
To follow that...
hold on. Before we go just one more time, we'll just thank you to Tim for giving us that tip. So from this point forward, my vodka will no longer be in my freezer.
I took mine out months ago.
Okay. Now, you have something else on a food front, which is fascinating.
This is another... would you like a sample of this?
I'll have a little sample
this
of that.
is Oh, I don't even know how to pronounce this.
I think it's pronounced Vosges.
Vosges Haut Chocolat. Red Fire Bar. Mexican ancho and chipotle chilies. Cinnamon and dark chocolate. 55%
Cocoa.
cocoa.
Oh, there's a shop. They have a shop in Chicago. I bought this at Tuscan Market in Arlington Heights.
Now, normally I don't consider 55% to be all that dark, but it tastes quite dark to me. Really creamy. Like I said, it melts right on your fingers. And the cinnamon and spice are amazing. Immediately you get a little hotness.
I think that would be the word heat, perhaps. Sorry, hotness. It'll stand. Good thing this isn't a video podcast, people, because you should have seen the look I just
dead.
There's an atomic fireball flying across the table at me, and I'm not talking about the Jawbreaker.
Based on your sensory history, you may experience nuances of leather, dairy, vegetables, flowers, fruit, roasted tobacco, coffee, caramel, nuttiness, spiciness, or question mark?
There's a lot going on in there. It is a lot like tasting a really good wine. Many levels of things.
Mm-hmm. And I've had spiced chocolate before, but never one that was quite this complex.
Mm-hmm.
So I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
Link in the show notes. Okay.
So what are we doing here today?
Before we go further, I want to share a little bit of theater with you, if I may.
Theater of the mind.
This has nothing to do with food. I'm sorry, my chair is like totally creaking today. I don't know what's up with that.
Jeez.
Sorry. Okay. I take the train into the city every day, every gall-darn day.
My baby takes them all. I'm not going to sing that, but I think it sometimes. Okay.
Sheena Easton. Whatever happened to her? I think she's playing Vegas now these days.
Sheena. You can't live in 2000 with a name like Sheena.
So I take the train in the morning, and it's an early train. So it's usually very quiet, with the exception of a few regulars who talk to the conductor. And the conductor's name is Howard, by the way. Hey, Howard. Morning, Howard.
Not quiet meaning empty, but quiet meaning people wall to wall not speaking because it's 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm. Very, very quiet.
It's an interesting thing.
And, you get to recognize the regulars. You see who the people are who normally sit near you and by you and whatnot. And you kind of acknowledge each other. What's going on? I'm sitting there this morning on the train, and I'm reading the newspaper. And then seriously, like clockwork, every 90 seconds, I hear this. Like clockwork. 90 seconds goes by. Some lady across the aisle from me has a highlighter, and she's sitting there reading an article, and every 90 seconds, she can't just pull the cap off like this, like that. She has to do the... Oh, now it's not going to do it. It's like Chinese water torture. I'm serious. And I'm looking over, and then finally at a stop closer to the city, a lady gets on next to me, and so we're sitting there, and all of a sudden... But anyway... And then this lady, she's sitting there reading her newspaper, and then she looks over, and then she looks back at me because she sees me looking over there, and she just smiles and just shake our heads like, oh, God.
Why didn't she just take off the cap and
leave it off?
Stick it on the back.
You know what? Highlighters are not that expensive, especially this time of year.
Let them dry out.
God.
Well, the humidity's 90%. It's not going to dry out.
Oh, good heavens. So I just wanted to share that with you.
That's very funny.
Okay. Oh, and on and I know we're jumping all over the place here, but show today is crowded, so we must move quick.
We haven't yet talked about our cheap date.
We will, but we will in a second. But I do want to point out also that one of the places that we have not reviewed yet that was on our docket to review has closed. Higley's Restaurant in Arlington Heights has closed.
No, really?
I know, and that's truly a cheap date location.
And it was a favorite of my grandparents.
Yes. Oh, that's right.
Oh, they have a special. You get a whole dinner with mashed potatoes and everything, $6.75.
Granddad had the roast beef, and I had the chicken, the turkey.
Yeah.
It's right across the street from the AmeriSuites Hotel on Arlington Heights Road, and it's a favorite of the senior citizen crowd because of what Lisa just said. It has a ton. They had a full dinner for like $6.95.
You know, when I'm 70, Joe, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be saying to our grandkids, "Oh yeah, Dad and I mean, we just can't get used to this Ethiopian food. We went over and had some nice Thai."
At one of the 18 Thai restaurants.
We're very trendy in our food tastes now, but that's gonna. Well, I don't know. We're kind of foodies, but that could end. Well, I'm sorry to hear about Higley's. You and I were only there. Well, I was only there once.
Yeah.
It was good, but yeah.
We went with the kids. Was that on Memorial Day?
It was on a day. I can't remember when because it was almost empty, and I think it was because it was a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had like spaghetti and Cobb salad.
Oh, and it was good. It was great. I went there years and years and years ago, and this is the first time I'd been there in a very long time.
You actually, for a while, were on a quest for the best American-style restaurants.
Uh-huh.
And so you're quite an expert.
We actually have a podcast coming up where we did go to a bunch of these different restaurants, and we were going to do a review of them. But I guess that's one that fell off the list now because they're going to be closed. There's going to be a CVS pharmacy there now.
Oh, come on. Isn't it like right across from a Walgreens?
Pretty much, yeah, right down the street.
How many freaking drugstores do we need? There's a drugstore on every corner.
We're a society that's very medicinally driven. And maybe you need, some more Jessica Simpson spray glitter or something. I don't know.
Yeah, the thing is, I think drugstore... I'd be interested to know how much of Walgreens' business, either volume-wise or profit-wise or revenue-wise, is prescription pharmacy, and how much is, can I say sundries?
Of course.
Because half the time when I go in there, it's to buy very low-level groceries. I just spent $20 on protein bars. Protein
toilet paper 1.0.
Well, I buy milk there occasionally. Obviously, you can't buy produce there, but I've bought cereal there before and Pop-Tarts. Jerky and nuts. I spent $20 on protein bars and shakes the other day.
There you go. So it can be done.
I can't go a week without going to Walgreens.
I was there today, actually.
As was I.
Well, we were at different Walgreens.
Picking up a prescription, and I didn't spend that much on it, but somebody did. Blue Cross Blue Shield did.
Go with them.
So,
Joe, party of two, your table is ready.
Well, thank you. And guess what, Lisa?
We're at a place where you don't get seated. These cheap dates are getting too cheap, Joe. Remember when we started this?
I know.
The idea was that we had... I think that should be a new rule for the cheap date.
Has to be a place.
If you don't get seated, it's too cheap.
Well, you do get seated. Well, you don't get seated here. There are tables here.
Yeah, like you get seated at McDonald's.
Where are we, honey?
Not exactly McDonald's. We're at Don's Dock.
In Des Plaines, Illinois. Right
Nowhere
in downtown
near
Des Plaines.
any sort of body of water, except maybe the Des Plaines River, which I think is just a drainage creek.
There's a bunch of mud in there.
And no shrimp, that's for sure.
Yes, we went to Don's Dock, which is a long-time tradition. Everything's a tradition.
That was beautiful.
In Des Plaines, Illinois.
Why don't you you're kind of into the traditions. Why don't you tell us about your personal history with Don's Dock? Because it's kind of cute.
My dad used to teach night school for one of the adult continuing education districts, one of the high school districts. And when he would get out of class a little bit earlier than usual, he would stop at Don's Dock right on Northwest Highway and bring home a couple pounds of fried shrimp. And this is not frozen stuff that you normally get in Chicago. They fly the stuff in fresh, and man, it's good. So I'd be in my room or something like that, and all of a sudden I would smell the fried shrimp, and I'd be like, I'm there. So anyway, heavy. They are heavy. I admit, heavy on the fried food. Fried by the pound. You can get shrimp. They also have small shrimp. They have fish and chips, catfish, walleye, calamari. And it says calamari, tubes and tentacles.
Aww.
I think that was the name of one of my albums when I was...
I like the tentacles better myself.
perch, clam strips, and hush puppies.
They do have grilled options,
Mm-hmm.
but I would not recommend that.
They have grilled Atlantic salmon, whitefish, catfish, shrimp, mahi-mahi, tilapia, chicken breast. That's not really fish. Chicken and shrimp, poached salmon. They have a jambalaya dinner, which I do want to try. I want to try that.
Oh, that might be good.
But being off of Lake Michigan, the family that owns this place, the Johnson family, I believe, has boats that they go up in Door County, Wisconsin. And I think they pull a lot of their Lake Michigan fish from up there.
Oh, very good.
And they bring it on down. So Don's Dock used to be just a carry-out place many years ago. And then probably about maybe 10, 15 years ago, they added some tables. So now you can sit in there. But it's... And in addition to buying stuff to go, they also have a full... It's a small place, but they do have a case with basically a fish market. You can get walleye and whitefish. They have shrimp. They have raw shrimp. They have boiled shrimp.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to avoid, turning into Bubba
The
on
Bubba
this.
Gump.
And but it's all really good stuff.
Yeah, I had the grilled shrimp, which was skewered with lemon and garlic, and you had the classic fried shrimp with fries. The fries, by the way, were phenomenal.
Yeah, they did something to those fries.
They were really good fries. And your fried shrimp was way, way better than my grilled shrimp.
I don't know what they do, what kind of coating. It is some sort of breaded coating that they roll it in, and I think there might be cornmeal or something in it, but...
It's good.
I've never had fried shrimp that tasted like this. There's some sort of seasoning in there that's just amazing.
It's true. It's very basic, and it's delicious.
I've also, like I said, I've used their services as a fish provider as well.
Oh yeah, you've picked up shrimp
I've
as an
picked up
appetizer?
Shrimp as an appetizer, or I went through a phase where I was making yakitori. I take cubes of chicken breast meat and parboil it, and then some shrimp, and then parboiled, and then marinated the whole thing in teriyaki sauce, and then grilled it on a hibachi.
This is why I love you.
I know. I haven't done my
Because
yakitori
you
for. I should do that sometime.
parboil things and then marinate.
So, yeah, it's great stuff. So, and it's fairly reasonable. You can have the dinner. I had the shrimp dinner, which was pretty substantial. It was $6, a little over $6. You had your grilled thing was a little over $7, I believe. Mm-hmm. Very reasonable. Small, fast foody type of thing. It's casual. You don't have to dress up or anything like that. And,
Oh gosh, no.
right. And like I said, you can also get just a bag of shrimp to go. The fried shrimp is $11.65 a pound, which might seem expensive.
Oh, not really.
Well, it might seem expensive to people on the coasts, but
possibly, yeah.
this is good stuff.
But yeah, I recommend save up your Weight Watchers points for the week or whatever. Go get the big fried platter and a big thing of cocktail sauce.
Yeah.
Hot cocktail sauce.
They also cater, I should point out. They do a fish boil, Door County style, which includes Lake Superior whitefish, potatoes, onions, coleslaw, melted butter, sauce, lemon wedges, and a roll. Not a roll, presumably more than one roll.
One roll per person. So don't have any unexpected guests.
So head over if you're in the area and you're in the mood for some really solid, good fried shrimp. That's the thing I would get. That is Don's Dock Restaurant at 1220 Northwest Highway in Des Plaines, Illinois. And then after Don's Dock, we took a trip to a place that we mentioned on a previous podcast on our Ice Cream Spectacular. Correct?
Correct. We're getting right to it. No musical
No, we're going right to it because this is still part of the cheap date because this was all one evening. It's our tradition. It's our tradition now. We follow up. Sorry, just splash water on me.
I think you spit, actually.
No.
Oh.
I have water on my fingers.
Uh-huh.
Water. See, Ice Mountain. Not a sponsor, but good water.
Yeah, our tradition now is to get dinner and then drive 15 miles to some other place for ice cream. I'm not sure. Well, we've done it twice. That makes it a tradition, but I'm not sure it's going to be a long-standing tradition.
Oh, no, not exactly.
But anyway.
We went to the last remaining, the only Cock Robin ice cream in the world.
Wow, gross.
It's located in Brookfield, Illinois, south of the zoo.
Dude, you did not even mention this to me on the podcast or before we got there or when we got there. They serve ice cream in a square scoop.
I think I mentioned that on the podcast previously.
The square ice cream scoop?
Yeah, square ice cream scoop.
All right, fine. I take it back. Well, anyway.
The one thing that I always remembered about Cock Robin...
They serve ice cream in a square scoop.
Square scoop. And
But-
actually, I think they had square cones. I don't know if they had the square cones anymore, but they did when they were a full chain. Actually, what I think happened was Cock Robin was I don't know if they were franchises. They must have been franchises, and they were all over the place, but they all had the same branded cups. They had the 1 in a million shake. They had square ice cream scoops. They had square cones, not the sugar cones, but the cake cones, the light tan ones. Mm-hmm. They were square, and if you got a double scoop, it was the coolest thing. You got two squares right next to each other.
Yeah,
on
I
a
saw
cone.
a picture of that.
Yeah, see. This one, they don't have the accoutrements anymore. They don't have the 1 in a million cups.
You just like that word.
Accoutrements. They don't have that. They don't have. Right. It's very much the last remaining, the last living cell in a dying body. No, it's terrible to say.
Jeez.
That was from a Dick Van Dyke episode. Sorry. But anyway, the one thing that I always remembered from Cock Robin was the root beer malt.
Root beer?
Root beer malt, which tasted like, oddly enough, pumpkin pie.
And it's totally true. I had Mackinac Island fudge. Because I'm always going to get something like that. And it was good. And it was square. But yeah, Joe gets this root beer shake. Now, a root beer shake sounds really odd to me anyway. And darn it, if it didn't taste just like pumpkin pie.
There's some seasoning in it, and it made it taste like pumpkin pie.
Well, cinnamon and cloves and
I think there's
allspice.
allspice. Yeah, I think that's what was in there.
All those pumpkin seasonings are in there.
So we did go over there. It still looks exactly like the Cock Robin that used to be here in Arlington Heights. It's a, typical ice cream stand type of arrangement. And
we found out that the girl who scooped our ice cream had nearly died earlier that day.
Yes. It was a high school tragedy.
She was barely legal for working, 16, I'm sure. And I don't even know she went into the bathroom at Cock Robin to change, and her friend said, "Don't come out of the bathroom." And she thought the place was being robbed, and she hid behind the trash can. And she could have died, except that they weren't being robbed. It was hilarious.
I could have died.
If you know girls between the age of 13 and 17, you're cracking up right now because you know exactly the drama over literally nothing. The drama over a scenario that didn't even almost happen.
It's true.
It's delightful.
So anyway, it was good to experience that, and we got to see it, and we got to be there. So that was a lot of fun, and it's kind of tucked away. It's right off the tracks, but if you're on one of the main drags like First Street or on Ogden Avenue, you have to kind of wind around to get to it. But the Cock Robin, the final remaining Cock Robin, is located at 8861 Burlington Avenue, Brookfield, Illinois. Okay, we're going to probably have to say sayonara, I think.
Are we wrapping up? Are we running out of time?
I think we are running out of time. All of this jocularity is sucking up all of our time.
Let's get down to business.
We'll get down to business. Thanks to everyone for writing to us. We do have some other guest reviews that we've gotten from folks, and we want to thank you for writing in and sending them to us. We want to say hello to some people. We want to say hi to listener CB. We want to say hi to listener John, who is a local Arlington Heights blogger.
Wow.
And he's a new listener to our show, and he's actually going to come up with some other suggestions for us as well here locally for cheap dates, thanks to him. We also want to say hi to, of course, we say hi to all of the usual people, all the usual suspects.
Yeah, you know who you are.
We want to say hi to Rachel from Australia, Simon from the UK, and our other cast of thousands who have written to us. Thousands. I'm telling you, thousands of people have written to us. And it's just, it's madness. No, your mom doesn't listen.
She doesn't have iTunes. She has dial-up.
She's one of the last remaining people.
Am I supposed to ask her to download this thing every week? It would take all week.
You know what? It would take just as long to type up what we say.
And she would be halfway through, and then somebody would try to send a fax through or something.
Why did that happen?
Oh, what the?
Why don't you tell the people?
We have a new toy. We got.
Well, it's not really a toy.
Yes, it is.
Okay, go ahead.
We got listener voicemail. So, if you want to say something to us in person, you can, without having to have any fancy equipment. Well, you do have to have a phone, but
one of them.
I'm sure if you're listening to this, you have a
devices.
phone. It is a long distance call. Sorry,
but everybody, you know what? These days, especially with cell phones,
if you're paying for long distance.
What do you
it's
do?
not our problem.
I'll Lisa, what are you doing listening to a podcast? You can use Skype. Anyway, go ahead.
If you have Skype, you can send us well, anyway, if you want to use a phone to call and leave us a voicemail, the number to dial is 206-203-DATE.
Which translates to what?
See, there are those letters on the numbers.
Yeah, I know, but some phones don't have the letters on them. So what does that actually translate to?
206-203-3283.
That's a Seattle number.
Yeah, it is.
Is this like someone you know?
I wish. Well, I don't know.
Okay.
No, it's not someone I know.
If they don't want to dial us and leave us a voicemail, how else would they get a hold of us?
dish@cheapdateshow.com. Or do it the old-fashioned way. Log on to cheapdateshow.com and leave a comment for all to see.
Mm-hmm.
And for us to leave our smart aleck replies to.
Thanks again, everyone, for listening. We hope you had a good time listening. And see, there goes someone else on vacation. You know that? Those are the sounds of O'Hare International Airport, ladies and gentlemen. A little piece of...
And that's with the windows closed.
Yeah, it's really...
The other night,
really
Joe had
low tonight.
Yeah, the other night the window was open and I was about to...
climb the walls.
Anyhow.
Have a great week, everybody. We will talk to you next time.
Good night.
'Cause of all the choices you have made, this didn't do a lot for you.
This podcast is proudly listed at podcastpickle.com.
Ta-da! I was on a talk show recently, and the host asked me, said, "What do you think about the dope problem?" And I said, "Definitely, I feel we have too many dopes." Yes. No question about it. That's why we have a drug problem, I really feel, because like everybody has access to drugs, and we're all kind of just dopey, we're just human beings, little protoplasm walking around, shaking hands. How are you, Phil? Give me a piece of lettuce, No real big thing. We're just kind of dopey folks, and we have all these drugs available to us. That's why there's a drug problem, man. There's all those drug stores, right? Every 3 or 4 blocks, there's a big sign. Drugs. Open all night. Drugs. We deliver. Drugs. Cut rate. Drugs. It's the biggest thing on their sign. Cosmetics, sundries, drugs.